This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
All right, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of The Outcast with Buzz and Juice.
My man Juice.
Got my man Juice over here, man. We got our new equipment here. New equipment we told you guys that we were going to have this week. Very excited to break this stuff out and get to use it. It looks legit down here, man. Looks legit.
It's crazy how much we've dumped into this, and we've done that strictly for you guys. But this is cool because, like, me and Brad don't have to scream anymore, and we can hit the table as much as we want. Brad, Buzz. But as you probably know our real names by now. But as always, we're sipping on some Revolution again today.
Got myself that Galaxy Hero. If
you see me staring out into the right here, it's because we have the TV on and the Cubs are on. We got second and third with one out, and Javi at the plate. He's not swinging out of his shoes here. Took one low, 3-2 count.
There we go.
Man, I feel like an actual announcer when I have stuff like this on right now.
I'm telling you, man, we can actually do live feeds with this. Like, watching games and whatnot.
Legit, man. Like,
yeah, we made it.
We also bought a new camera, too. So comment below if you like our new angle.
If you do not like our new angle, give us a
little feedback on it.
Yeah, a suggestion. We thought this would be the best spot for it. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, on the Most Valuable Podcast YouTube, be sure to give us a like and a subscription and a comment down below. For those that have watched us, you guys already know what to do. If you are listening to us on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. Comment below. Tell other people to listen to it. That would be fantastical. And if you guys go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast, you guys can donate to earn yourself some really cool prizes. That just went up the middle there. Nice. That's going to score 2.
That's going to score 2.
That's going to score 2. You go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast and, like I said, donate and earn yourself some cool prizes and whatnot. And then if you would like a Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt or get to learn about us, we have made the About Us section now, which is awesome.
Oh, we're up there now.
Yeah, we are up there now. So you go to mostvaluablepodcast.com. You can find your t-shirts there, find out about us, see what's, see all the other shows that are on our station, on our channel. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today.
Jam-packed.
Yeah, it is really
jam-packed. Bases loaded, jam-packed.
This was a very tough week, as Juice knows, and I'm sure there's a lot of our listeners. I've talked to some people on YouTube about it. We welcomed our baby girl into the world.
Where's my beer?
Right there, man. Named her Renna.
Oh, I heard second base.
Oh, that ain't good, man. Dang. But we named her Renna, and
first of all, on the air, I'd like to congratulate you as your best friend for a while here, and it's awesome. She's amazing. Got to hold her.
Oh yeah.
She's you had a hell of a week.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a week,
between the podcast, getting the new equipment. And because we recorded last Wednesday, if I believe.
Thursday. Last Thursday
and then we watched opening day together, and then our new equipment came.
Yep.
And then if you want to talk a little bit about the baby and your little story, you can have the floor for a little bit if you want.
She came. Hey, the only important thing is that she came out healthy, and she is thankfully not a crier. So me and Juice were able to work on what we had to work on today, and that was what we had promised, and that's what we were kind of scared that we weren't going to be able to do this week, but. Thanks to Juice, helping out, and like he always does, and me I had to take a back seat. He got the show outline written up for us and everything, so we're going to be able to do it.
You're on my bus today.
Yeah.
Man, I just hit my head with these little things, man. It's going to take some getting used to, man.
It's right every time I look at the TV now.
It's right in your view.
It's right in my grill.
Well, you're just missing some airs up the middle here by the Brewers, and Cubs up 3-0.
Oh, well, fantastic! Look at that. But we as promised in this episode, guys, we have the full
7-round
mock draft for the Chicago Bears. So stay tuned for that. We also got position breakdowns today, cornerback and safeties. So we'll go into that, and then we'll go into the 7-round mock draft for everybody for the Chicago Bears today. We're gonna kick off the show though talking about the Chicago Bulls here. Basically. They won 3 in a row.
Yeah, it takes over.
They blew it. They blew up. They could have got the 4th pick.
They blew up the tank.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a job, especially if you play Call of Duty. It takes a while to do that. So, I just think it's completely ridiculous. The one cool thing about it is you see how hard these guys play for Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah, and I'll agree. I think this kind of transitions into what I wrote up for today's show. Obviously, the whole talk has been to get the best player that you can via the draft, and that comes with being able to choose who you want, which entails getting a top 3, top 5 pick. The Bulls have kind of blew that. I do think that this kind of brings up a good conversation that that's going around the league. Is tanking good for a winning culture? And do you think that the Bulls players, obviously these guys don't want to see them, they don't want to lose. Your Lauries, your even your Holidays, and your obviously Kirkpatrick coming in. I just think that it's different, and it's a tough call because obviously we love seeing Laurie dominate because they got
the only
that pick
thing
right.
I don't throw a fit about when they're winning is when I see Lauri Markkanen doing his thing. That is something that I really thoroughly enjoy as a Bulls fan.
And I think that there's going to be in the top 5. We're talking about these guys in the top 5, and all 5 of them aren't going to be awesome. They're not going to be
game changers.
All
is basically
game changers.
What you're getting at.
There's going to be some busts in this top of the draft, and I've come a lot, and I don't know if this is just the fact that the Bulls have kind of blew this tank, and I'm trying to make the glass half full kind of reference here, but it's cool to see that this team, this young core, kind of bonding together and kind of trying to win ball games. I know that it's so frustrating, and trust me, I wanted them to have a top pick because I think that helps the team, further this rebuild. And I think that, but this is the other thing too. If you're comfortable with a guy in the 8th pick and the 9th pick, and it's going to be the right guy. I mean, look at who's the guy from Utah?
Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, he was the 13th pick last year.
And he's arguably should be the rookie. Well, he should be. It'll be Simmons, unfortunately, for Utah and the Bulls.
But in our eyes, he's the rookie of the year.
I just hit my head on the mic.
I know it's gonna happen. We're gonna have to learn here to not just dive right into this little boom thing here.
I didn't even mean to, man.
But no, and I think that with all the bad that's come by them winning, there's some good that is getting kind of passed over because Laurie down this stretch has been great. It's great to see that the Bulls made the right pick and they won that Jimmy Butler trade. So it's going to be nice to see that core kind of grow together. I think that they'll bring back Zach. They'll have those 3 guys. And on this point, if you're John Paxton, Gar Forman, and Collins, you got to look in the draft, do the best evaluation as you can on the top 20 talent and find that hidden gem because that's where you're going to be.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to scouting, and I will say though that this year, and even in the last year too, Gar Forman has taken on more of a scouting role than he has the GM role. It's kind of fallen into Paxton's hands to take on the GM role because us here in Chicago, there's Fire Gar Pax billboards out there, man.
And that's the thing too. They've been very successful at the bottom of the draft, so I have a great faith that they're going to make the right choice for them.
I honestly, I agree with that.
It is 10 deep. There's 10 players in this draft that could change it. They're not going to be superstars. Not all 10 of them are going to be superstars, but you're going to be able to find a guy to fit with your core, and if you can build it, I mean, look at the Washington or look at the Warriors.
Right.
I mean, the Warriors didn't do it with a top 5 pick. I mean, it's possible. I think that we kind of talked the first couple podcasts of get as low as you can, and honestly, that was the best strategy going into this thing. But now that they've won and kind of screwed the pooch on that, you might as well do every inch of research as you can to make sure that they get the best player that's getting overlooked because there's going to be somebody in that top 10 who's overlooked.
I'm going to remain optimistic. I'm not going to, we have 2 draft picks and still to right now, even though they won last night, New Orleans beating Memphis last night, they can still fall out of the playoffs here.
Oh, absolutely.
So we could still potentially have 2 lottery picks
and get creative with that.
Absolutely. We've talked on other podcasts. There's a million people we can draft. There's a million things that we could do with it, but something that you put down here, which I wanted to talk about, which I'm so happy. I don't even need to tell you what I want to talk about. You already know.
Well, we've known each other for a while, and
20 years.
And I know you, man.
The Kawhi Leonard trade rumors is something that is really, really cool to me. Do I think the Bulls pull the trigger? Well, they never have done anything like that before. But
what a time for that, though.
That's what I'm saying.
What a perfect timing for...
Who's to say you don't keep Rolo, bro?
Well,
who's to say you don't keep Rolo as your center? You give 2 lottery picks to Greg Popovich and those San Antonio Spurs, and you bring Kawhi Leonard to be your small forward to play along Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and Lauri Markkanen.
And that's a squad, but is he available?
That's the $1 million question. I don't know. Like you and I have said on a million podcasts before, we're going to say it again. We are not experts. We have no inside sources. We are just speculators. And
if any of our listeners have inside sources, please tell me who they're going to pick, or if they're going to get Kawhi Leonard. Or
yeah, I mean, I
would love to know.
This is just purely speculation on our part. We're not going to sit here and tell you guys that this is really good. Look for it on draft night. This is just us speculating right now.
No, but you're not doing your franchise a service if you don't look into what it's going to take for him to be in a Bulls uniform.
I honestly, knowing how Pop is, if this kid is going to, continue doing what he's doing, he's got teammates calling him out. Tony Parker called him out last week, bro.
Yeah, it's a bad situation down there too, because there's a lot of people saying he was healthy a long time ago and he's not playing yet.
He's kind of doing what D Rose did, but on a lesser injury.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of does he want to leave? There's so much speculation around this. It's so crazy.
That's the thing. Who's he butting heads with? Is he butting heads with Pop?
It doesn't seem like that though, because wasn't there a time where LaMarcus Aldridge was butting heads with Pop too?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
What did they do?
I think every player that's ever played for Pop has butted heads with Pop.
Well, I mean
that's what makes him a great coach.
Absolutely. I figured this is probably more from Kawhi's side, I think, than the Spurs.
I just don't get why. I mean, it has to be location because he's getting the Supermax.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no questions asked about that. He's in his 20s still, and he's an elite talent.
I don't get why he'd want to leave that spot either. He has the best coach, and they're going to put people around him no matter if they're the smaller market or not, because that team's been good since the 90s.
Right. I mean,
they have, to me, they're the best. Pop is the best coach in the NBA. That's my opinion.
I actually would go as far as saying that I think Greg Popovich is probably the greatest coach of all time.
You could make that argument. I could see it. We could maybe do a whole pod about that, because obviously our Phil Jackson gets put in that too. But
absolutely.
He had the toppest players of all. I mean, he had Kobe and
Shaq and Mike and Scotty.
I mean, those are top 10, and obviously we talked about Scotty, being in the top 50.
Right. I just think that in this case, so you know what, man, we're gonna play a game here.
Okay.
You're gonna be Doug Collins.
Sure.
I'll be John Paxson, because I think Gar Forman is truly a good scout that got a title as general manager, and I think he got crucified for a lot of things he probably shouldn't have got crucified for.
Well, the whole Bulls front office kind of loafed around when they had a team to contend and were too afraid to trade assets that they loved. They had a lot of. I mean, there was Kobe talk going as far back.
And that's the thing with Chicago sports fans too. Like, when they were crying about, you can't trade Joakim Noah, or you can't trade Luol Deng on draft night for Harrison Barnes.
Right.
Yeah, there's a million things. I'm not saying Harrison Barnes is a star. I'm just saying I still would have pulled the trigger on that trade. Because Harrison Barton is doing what? He's killing it with Dallas right now. He's, I mean, obviously Dallas is bad.
Right.
But he was super young and raw coming out, and he would still be a talent you have while Lou rides the bench in Los Angeles.
And he's still very young, and I think, they're going to pair him, because obviously they've done it right with Dennis Smith Jr.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, they're one solid player away from
a Marvin Bagley, maybe.
Yeah, that's well, we'll do maybe an NBA kind of outlook one day.
Definitely,
we'll do
definitely before the draft.
Yeah. We're going to have to wait on that.
So if I come to you as Doug Collins as being our player advisor, and I ask you, hey, like, obviously we're in a rebuilding stage right now. Doug, what do you think? Do you think that if we can go call San Antonio, because, Popovich is in charge of the roster moves.
Right.
He's one of the few coaches in the NBA that has that luxury of being in charge of the roster moves and being the head coach. Doug, if I come up to you right now and I say, let's package these lottery picks that we have right now and go see what it takes to get Kawhi Leonard. So do you want to explore it, or do you want to take 2 young kids and grow together, or do you want to get an established veteran?
This is my question with that, though. What's the pick? Is this a pre-lottery trade, or is this a...
I'm going to say...
Because they can't even do that, right? Because the Spurs are going to make the playoffs. The lottery is during the playoffs.
Well, right. Well, yeah, no. This would be a draft night trade.
So they would know what pick they're going to have. So hypothetically, if we stay at 9 and the Pelicans pick ends up being...
Yeah, this would be a draft night trade. And this is if the New Orleans pick goes into the lottery. That's the hypotheticals here.
Right. Well, we need that to happen.
Right. So, I mean, but if all those ducks did fall in a row, and it maybe, it took another player, maybe you throw a Denzel in there, or, what's another good young piece, maybe a Bobby Portis or something like that. And
Bobby, I could see, he looks like a San Antonio type player.
Yeah, I think that Popovich could definitely maximize his potential. But so, well, hypothetically, here's a trade package, and we go, Kawhi doesn't want to be in San Antonio, so before people start attacking us here, because obviously this trade wouldn't work in 2K, I highly doubt it, but say we get the 8th pick and the 14th pick, and we add Denzel Valentine and Bobby Portis, and we ask if we can get,
Kawhi back. Is the question, would I do that trade?
Yeah, the question is if you would do that trade, and I don't know if the salaries would actually work. We'd have to
we'd have to do a little trade finder machine.
Yeah, I could probably actually do that while you start going on your answer here.
No, I think that if I'm Doug Collins and I can get a proven commodity at the 3, because that's what they're going to really look to draft, then yeah, I think I love that idea. I just don't know if that's enough for Pop. That's the other thing too. I mean, Kawhi is the staple of what the Spurs are, and 2 lotteries and Bobby Portis in the lotteries not being like top 5 picks just don't seem like and obviously like that would be a total restart for the Spurs as well. I think once Kawhi leaves, that kind of breaks the franchise into, all right, maybe next year we're contending for an 8 spot, or maybe we're trying to miss the playoffs, because Kawhi is that defensive glue that kind of holds that together. So, I mean, it depends on, a lot of things. And as I see that you just did this whole trade thing, it says it fails.
Yeah, I don't know why, though.
Do the salaries match up?
The Spurs are saving a bunch of money, and the Bulls still have cap room. So, I mean, there's going to be some, I don't know, man. I'm not good at this kind of stuff, so... Yeah, someone, you know what? Somebody,
stat guy.
Yeah, stat guy. Go on, whoever wants to be our stat guy, go on the ESPN trade machine and see if you can get that trade to work. A trade for Kawhi.
Tweet it to us.
Yeah, tweet it to us and let us know. But
yeah, I would love to see Kawhi in a Bulls uniform. I think that he would really, and I think that for defensive purposes, if you look at where the Bulls are at right now, and I know it's a rebuild year, so they're not really trying to work on how to be great defensively yet, but they don't play great defense right now, and they're going to have to get that, allowed points per game number down. I think Kawhi does a lot of that because, in my opinion, the 3 is the toughest position to guard right now because all the superstars seem to play the 3. I mean, if you're your LeBrons, your KDs, your Jimmy Butlers, they all play the 3.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens if I have the chance, and me, I'm usually all for building in the draft, even in 2K when I play the game, man. I don't make any crazy trades.
Yeah, but the Bulls are going to have to, through this whole rebuild, make a big splash trade.
I think that's the trade.
Happen.
I think that's the trade if we do anything. I can't, having a 3 come over, maybe keeping Rolo for that last season and then restructuring his contract, after his contract runs out. Or even, another thing that I was thinking too, who did not, we were just talking about Dallas before, who didn't have a very good year in Dallas this year was Nerlens Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you go get him on the low for 1 year, pull the trigger for the trade for Kawhi Leonard.
You're not going to ask him to be too much of a scorer. You're just going to have to.
No, I don't need him to be. I just need him to do. I need him to shot block and rebound. That's it.
The Bulls need to, while they're picking, they need to get better defensively, and they need to get better at the 3 position. And I think that kind of does all that, don't you think?
I think so. I think it really does. I think that if you're able to. And those guys are 2 young guys, by the way. Kawhi's not old, and Nerlens Noel's not old either. So I mean, it's still a youth movement, but in that youth movement, you get a proven leader in somebody like Kawhi Leonard, and we get to stop hearing here in Chicago media who's the leader, Dunn, Levine, or Markkanen.
The other side of it too that I could see people saying is, and we don't know the whole ramifications of what's going on with Kawhi in San Antonio, but a lot of people I could see saying, why do we really want a guy who's walking out on a franchise right now, too, though? I know that's a stretch. For me, that's a stretch. I don't agree with that, but I could see people saying that as well, too.
I would be the guy that said that. And I've been that guy before, that you and I have had conversations about players walking out on their teams.
Especially since they're, I mean, I know that they're not winning the West. It's either going to be the Rockets or
the Spurs window has closed unless they're able to land a superstar. And that is what I read in an article on ESPN, was that Kawhi was frustrated that they don't have the ability to land star free agents. I don't think that's the only reason on what is going on with Kawhi Leonard and the San Antonio Spurs right now.
I don't think so either.
I did read a very interesting article, and again, I wish I would have cited it, but it was when I was in the hospital when we were having the baby. We actually already
Look at you still working while your wife's in labor. That's dedication to you. See, all you listeners should be thankful.
I didn't want to
Although she wasn't a long labor.
Yeah, it was very long. But this is actually after the baby. But
okay.
Somebody put on there, on this website I was reading, they compared Kawhi Leonard to Andrew Bynum. Was he losing his love for the game?
Wow.
Because of his demeanor all the time. It never seems like he's enjoying himself. I don't know about that. Do I think it was a good read? Yeah, it was a very cool, interesting read. Do I think that's the case? Nah.
But what was in the article? What was the sources for that?
There was no sources. It was a speculation article.
Okay. I mean, by looking at him, because I've never seen Kawhi. He seems like on a 1 to 10 scale, the guy always seems like he's at a 3.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he's ever overexcited or anything like that, but it seems like he has the love to work on his craft because obviously he made something out of himself. He wasn't the highest ranked, prospect either.
Right.
He really worked to be what he is today, but
it's a very big turnaround with him.
Yeah,
and how he did everything and how, strongly he came on. People knew he had it in him, but it's just that great coach that he had, I think, that brought it out of him.
Right.
But no, it's something for the Bulls that I would be very excited for if Kawhi Leonard is an actual possibility. A lot of questions going into the offseason. Obviously we'll touch on that as the time approaches. But as for now, we didn't get up in the top 5 how Juice and I wanted. And
it's a sad day to accept that too. Yeah. Now, does that mean that we're stuck in that pick? No, it's a lottery. So, I mean, hey, fingers crossed. I'm going to wear my lucky T-shirt. I know I'll be with you watching the
lotteries in
lottery.
Chicago.
Yeah, I'm past that whole conspiracy. Is that going to happen movement? Because
I'm all about hope and luck.
You know what I think? Who's getting the number 1 pick? Memphis. You want to know why? They've never had it. Did you know that? They're one of 9 teams to never have the number 1 pick.
They also can't fill their damn stadium.
Right, but what's the best way to do that?
Get a number 1 pick and a perennial, all-star and a potential superstar. So, yeah, I agree there. I mean, it was hard to accept that it's...
Don't quote me, but I know that there's a number of teams that never have had the number 1 pick, and Memphis is one of them.
You need a stat guy so bad.
Because I heard that I think I was listening to a radio or Sports Center because they were actually talking about the tank. And immediately my conspiracy brain went, oh, it's in Chicago. We're going to get the number 1 pick. And then I heard that Memphis had never had it. So I said, oh, yeah, it's going to Memphis. So you heard it here first. Number 1 pick's going to Memphis.
Probably. Either them or Phoenix because, why not? But, yeah, hopefully the Bulls get their shit together and they figure out what's going on. And
they need to just, like we said, they need to scout.
Right.
And like we said, they could realistically do it because they've done it before. They found Jimmy at the bottom of the draft. They found Taj towards the bottom of the draft.
Oh, absolutely.
It can happen.
Absolutely.
And they're in a good spot. They found Laurie at 8, right? 7? 8? 7.
7, yeah.
So
he's at 7.
8 because we're plugging our mock draft here. NFL mock draft coming up in just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, man. And, you guys listening on YouTube here or even, listening on iTunes, tweet at us or get on the YouTube comments when this video drops and let us know what you think about Kawhi coming to the Bulls.
Yeah, definitely post below. We want to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, maybe throw out some trade ideas, maybe package these 2 picks, maybe go get an unhappy star or something. I don't know.
He'd look great in a Bulls uniform.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would totally dig that. But let us know what you guys think of that.